Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because things got wild on the sidelines and the energy around this team feels like something straight out of a football documentary. From the moment the players hit the field, you could feel that charged atmosphere. That spark that only shows up when a group knows exactly what kind of statement they want to make. The noise, the intensity, the way the guys were jumping around before kickoff. All of it felt like Dallas had arrived with something to prove, and they weren't interested in easing their way into anything. It almost felt like a full-blown parade of swagger and confidence. The kind of vibe that lets you know the locker room is feeling themselves. Before the first snap even happens, before the game even kicked into gear, the players were already mic'd up and shouting across the field, hyping each other with that raw brotherhood energy that only teams with real chemistry can pull off. You had leaders stepping up, talking about playing fast, playing physical, protecting the ball, and making every little detail matter. The speeches weren't scripted or pretty, they were gritty, emotional, and exactly the kind of thing that makes a group walk onto the field believing they're the toughest dudes alive. It was clear from the jump that nobody in that circle cared about outside noise. They cared about the guys next to them and about sending a message with every snap. And the message came early with those first defensive stands. The sideline was loud. Players barking. Coaches dialing up pressure. Everyone locked in on refusing to let Philadelphia find a rhythm. When the defense forced that early turnover on downs, the reaction on the Dallas sideline was electric. High fives, helmets being slapped, guys yelling that they wanted more. That hunger, that edge, was written all over their faces. Even when Philadelphia struck back with that early touchdown, the Cowboys didn't fold for a single second. You had coaches calling the guys together, reminding them to settle down, stay poised, clean up a few things on the back end, and keep playing the physical brand of football they set out to bring. And then came one of the most honest moments of the game, when one of the special teams leaders stepped up after a mistake and took full responsibility in front of the entire sideline. No excuses, no pointing fingers, just pure accountability. He owned the moment and reminded everyone that self-inflicted mistakes can happen against strong opponents. That kind of honesty is rare. And when it happens, you can feel the entire team respond. They didn't sulk. They didn't panic. They regrouped and locked back in. Even after Dallas put the ball on the turf in a tough moment, you could hear teammates immediately stepping in with words of encouragement instead of frustration. One voice after another telling the returner to shake it off, keep his head up, and get ready for he next chance. That kind of support is the reason teams stay competitive in tough moments rather than spiraling. The leadership on this roster isn't about one guy barking orders. It's built from every corner of the locker room, and you could hear the coaching staff hammering the same message. Don't panic. Don't force anything. Don't let frustration turn into sloppy football. It was only the second quarter. The game was nowhere near decided. The team kept reminding each other that Philadelphia didn't take control. They just got a slight head start. And the tone on the sideline started shifting from frustration to focus when the offense finally broke through with big chunk plays. You could feel the sideline explode with a kind of collective exhale. Players were pacing up and down the boundary yelling that it was their turn now, that they were ready to punch back. The energy exploded when the Cowboys offense put together one of their cleanest drives of the night, stringing completions together with strong protection, smart reads, and a rhythm that felt like it cracked the whole thing open. You could hear guys on the sideline clowning around, celebrating, comparing college roots, hyping each other up after every big catch. When the offense hit that deep shot down the right side, the excitement was unreal. Everyone knew momentum was shifting. And then came the play that had the entire sideline on its feet, the touchdown. That marked the first career score for one of the young receivers. The reaction was pure joy. Veterans ran over to celebrate. Coaches shouted. The sideline felt alive again. Moments like that show exactly why players talk about this roster as a family. They weren't just happy because the team scored. They were proud of their teammate getting his first moment in the spotlight. As the halftime break neared and the kicker trotted out for a long attempt, you could feel the confidence in the air, even after the miss. The defense jogged back out, telling each other that the stop they were waiting for was coming. The message was the same across the board. They can't run on us. Stay disciplined. Stay aggressive. And eventually the tide turns, and when the second half kicked off, Dallas came out swinging. The offense attacked the field with bold throws and fearless runs, moving the ball with precision. The sideline erupted when another big catch got pulled down in traffic. With teammates screaming the receiver's name and cheering like they just won a prize fight, the quarterback scrambled on another play, weaving through defenders and diving into the end zone. And that moment sent shockwaves through the bench. You could see helmets flying off, towels whipping in the air, players sprinting to the end zone to celebrate that score like it was something out of a storybook. Everywhere you looked, players were talking about finishing the job. Defensive linemen were pumping each other up. Linebackers were calling out adjustments. Coaches were reminding everyone to stay locked in until the final whistle. And when the defense finally created that massive momentum-shifting moment, stripping the ball and diving on it, with a swarm of bodies, the entire sideline lost it. The excitement was unreal as guys jumped around shouting that the tide had turned for good, and through every big moment, every huge stop, and every sideline celebration, you could sense something building, something that felt bigger than just one game. This team believes in itself, believes in each other, and believes that when the pressure hits, they can answer the call every single time. As the second half unfolded, you could feel the Dallas Cowboys coming alive in ways that only a team with real grit can show. The energy that had been building in the locker room, on the sideline, and in the players themselves didn't just stay contained, it poured onto the field with every snap. You could see it in the quarterback's eyes, the way he scanned the defense with precision and poise, ready to make plays even when defenders were flying in from all angles. The offensive line held strong, refusing to give an inch, creating pockets that felt unbreakable even against relentless pressure. The skilled players took advantage, running crisp routes, breaking tackles, and showing flashes of speed and awareness that made it clear the game was slipping into Dallas' hands. One after another, the big plays started to materialize. Deep throws over the middle that connected perfectly, timing that seemed to defy defenders' instincts, and runs through gaps that were barely there. The sideline erupted after every first down. But it wasn't just celebration, it was recognition of the craft, the preparation, and the execution. Each play carried that raw energy, the feeling that no mistake was too big to overcome, and no opponent was too strong to challenge the drive. Even when the Eagles tried to mount their own counters, Dallas responded instantly, disciplined, precise, forcing adjustments that kept Philadelphia off balance. Every huddle, every snap, every glance toward the scoreboard felt like a conversation between teammates that said, "We've got this, no matter what." The young receivers and running backs were shining tonight, making plays in traffic and catching passes that seemed impossible. Each catch was followed by immediate celebration, the bench erupting with shouts and laughter, high fives flying in all directions. But it wasn't just joy, it was respect for what each player had earned through practice, through grit, through commitment. You could hear veterans calling out tips, encouragement, and motivation between plays, reminding everyone to stay locked in and focused. It was a masterclass in team chemistry, and it was impossible not to get swept up in it. And then, moments of pure individual brilliance started to hit. A tight end breaking a tackle to gain extra yards, a cornerback reading the quarterback's eyes and stepping in for a crucial interception, a running back making defenders miss and turning nothing into a substantial gain. Every single time something like that happened, the sideline responded like a tidal wave of noise, energy, and emotion. The players were feeding off each other, and it was almost palpable from the stands. You could feel the momentum swinging so heavily in favor of Dallas that even the Eagles' most confident plays seemed tentative, as if they could sense the intensity building against them. Quarterback leadership was at its peak. Every throw, every read, every audible play felt like a message. We are in control, and we are not letting up. His chemistry with the receivers was undeniable, timing every deep ball with surgical precision, threading passes through tiny windows that seemed to disappear the instant defenders tried to close them. You could hear the sideline reacting immediately, cheering, shouting, and reliving every moment as if they were part of the play themselves. And the running game complemented it perfectly, moving the chains, controlling the clock, and punishing anyone who dared step into the box. The balance was impeccable, a display of football intelligence and execution that makes teams hard to stop. The defense, of course, was just as dominant. Each tackle was sharp, disciplined, and decisive. Linebackers flowed to the ball with a speed and awareness that felt like instinct, reading plays before they even fully developed. Defensive backs jumped routes, broke up passes, and made it clear that any mistake by the opposition would be met with immediate punishment. Every turnover, every forced third down, every sack had the sideline erupting with high energy. Players pounding each other on the chest, shouting, and celebrating like a personal victory, accountability, aggression, and energy combined to make the defense a fortress. One that refused to bend no matter the pressure. Even special teams played a huge role in maintaining momentum, punts pinned deep, returns that gained crucial yards, and perfect field positioning allowed the offense to attack with confidence. Every kick, every snap, every adjustment from the sideline felt orchestrated, like a symphony in which every player knew their part perfectly. The energy never dipped, it never slowed. The coaching staff stayed engaged, hands constantly moving, eyes scanning, directing, and communicating with the players. But it wasn't overbearing. It was strategic, calculated, and yet flexible, allowing the natural instincts and talent of the team to take over at the right moments. And then came those signature plays that define a season. The ones that will be replayed countless times in highlights and in fans' memories. Deep shots down the sidelines, perfectly timed handoffs that broke multiple tackles, audacious scrambles by the quarterback that ended in touchdowns, and miraculous catches by players who just seemed to defy physics in traffic. The sideline went absolutely berserk after each one, players hugging, screaming, chest bumps flying, the energy so high it seemed to electrify the entire stadium. Every single individual play was connected to the team's collective momentum. A reminder that Dallas wasn't just a group of skilled athletes, they were a family. A unit that thrived on shared victories and celebrated each member's contributions. Time after time, the Cowboys forced crucial stops, pressured the quarterback into hurried throws, and created turnovers that set up their own offense in prime scoring position. Each success was followed by a relentless drive to continue the attack, a refusal to ever let up. Players were pushing each other in the right way, hyping up their teammates, challenging them to do better on the next play, and laughing in a way that showed confidence, not arrogance. Every sideline conversation, every glance exchanged, every moment of encouragement fueled the fire that carried this team through the toughest moments of the game. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. Whispers are swirling through the league after a tense post-game hallway exchange involving Raiders head coach Pete Carroll, who reportedly let slip a string of sharp remarks aimed at the Dallas Cowboys, though no cameras captured the moment. Several individuals close enough to overhear claim the veteran coach's tone was unusually blunt and borderline dismissive, sparking a wave of speculation that has since taken over sports talk shows and fan forums alike. According to these unofficial murmurs, Carroll appeared visibly frustrated as he left the field and allegedly criticized what he called the Cowboys' overhyped identity and inflated confidence. One witness insisted the coach went even further, suggesting the team relied more on reputation than execution. None of this is confirmed, of course, but the chatter has been loud enough to reach Dallas, where fans have responded with a mixture of disbelief and irritation. Raiders supporters, meanwhile, seem split. Some defend Carroll, arguing his candid comments if he even made them reflect a competitive fire that has fueled his long career. Others worry the supposed outburst could ignite a feud that overshadows the football itself, especially given how sensitive Cowboys fans can be to outside criticism. Social media, naturally, has turned the rumor into a full-blown narrative, complete with clipped audio purporting to be Carroll's voice and endless debates about whether the tone matches his usual demeanor. A Raiders staff member, speaking anonymously, suggested the coach's mood may have been shaped by internal frustrations rather than anything specific to Dallas. Still, the idea of Carroll taking verbal shots at such a high-profile franchise has added a layer of intrigue to an already scrutinized season. Cowboys loyalists are demanding clarification, Raiders fans are parsing every word, and neutral observers are treating the entire episode as another chapter in the league's ever-growing gallery of sideline drama. Whether Carroll actually intended to insult the Cowboys, or the noise is little more than exaggerated locker room gossip, one thing is clear: the rumor has legs, and until someone addresses it directly, the league will keep buzzing, dissecting every syllable and searching for meaning between the echoes of a comment that may or may not have ever been spoken. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.